Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm gonna talk about raiding in Lost Ark, give you all the important details and tell you some of the reasons why I'm personally very excited about the PvE side of things in Lost Ark as well. Raiding is not something that you might be accustomed to in Lost Ark because it works a little bit different than it does in other MMORPGs. Normally you would expect that, hey, raiding is like a 40 man, 20 man, 100 man kind of thing. In Lost Ark actually raiding is the smallest version of content. It's a 4-man, very challenging and very interesting, very cool looking and very player skill honing experience, if I may put it like that. It's absolutely beautiful, it's gorgeous, and it's the tip of the iceberg in terms of PvE content, what you can do. It's small man, you enter with your 4-man party, or you can enter alone if you so wish, inside an instance zone which has 20 mobs at tops. You kill those mobs really fast in the first 2 seconds, and then you have only your party and the raid boss. There is a 20-minute timer for every single raid in the game, and there is also 3 resurrections tops allowed. So that means that if you die once, your friend dies once, and his girlfriend dies once, whoever dies next out of these 3 finishes the raid and you all get booted out and you start all over again. Doesn't matter what stage you've reached or whatever. You have to queue up once more for the raid. Raiding is on a daily 3 per day cooldown in Lost Ark, but you can do as many raids as you want every single day. You can do 24 hours non-stop of raiding if you wish, but only 3 of those cooldowns are gonna give you the full loot. The majority of the loot is given only 3 times. If you continue doing them, you're gonna get, let's say, the 10% that is given out of the 100 for every other raid, starting with the 4th onwards. Now, the whole experience is absolutely magnificent, and one of the reasons why I love Lost Ark and appreciate the game so much as I do, even though it's not even out and I have absolutely no interest in promoting it, just saying I appreciate it because they've put a lot of quality into everything they've done. Raiding is sort of like Monster Hunter. You enter that place and you have this big ass boss. There is no HP bars, only your party's HP bars, and you enter that boss and every single boss is completely different. Every single boss has different mechanics that they do, and the way the mechanics work in Lost Ark is that bosses are elements and bosses are also types, right? So you can have a type like an animal, right? A creature type, or a humanoid type, or an avatar type, a celestial kind of type of boss. And then on top of that, couple that with an element like fire or dark or earth or lightning, etc. So then you have a variety of mechanics combined with a variety of types of bosses, and it's an absolutely exhilarating experience to play, and it just simply makes you a better player no matter what you do. I know it sounds weird that PvE in an MMORPG is challenging enough to make you a better player, make your fingers more nimble and help you in your future gaming life after Lost Ark, but it's actually the truth. The more item level you get on your character, the better gear you have, the more raid bosses you can do. Previous ones that you've done at a specific item level, you're probably never gonna enter them again, besides the weekly quests that tell you to go and kill that boss that you've done in the first boss ever in the game. Go kill him 5 times, right? And then you queue up and you 2-shot him because the power creep on the gear scales quite a lot in Lost Ark, and the more challenging they become also, to a point where eventually in the game you're gonna be able to fight 2 bosses, for example, 2 raid bosses at the same time, one dark, one ice, right? Very important to note that on top of player skill and group composition, which are, as you can imagine, the 2 most important things in Lost Ark, because gear does not matter in PvE. May I dare to say that and argument it in the following way? It doesn't matter how bad gear you have. You cannot really do damage if you enter a raid boss manually with a party that is, I don't know, 100 or 200 item levels above you. You can enter it, but you're just gonna get one shot by everything because that's how gear works in Lost Ark and that's how it scales. So it doesn't really matter. You cannot really you cannot really overgear a raid boss. This is what I'm trying to tell you, right? You can only get to the max of that particular patch's item level, and then you can enter the top raid there. Previous raids, you have absolutely no interest in doing them, and you're not gonna do them, and because of that, you're never gonna feel like you're somehow too good geared or you have deposited too much money in the cash shop, and now you can just two-shot the last boss ever for that particular patch. This is never going to happen in Lost Ark because that's not how the game works. So it's very interesting and always stays challenging, if you know what I mean. Once you reach the maximum item level for a specific patch, you can do that specific raid at the end, or those 2 raids or those 3 raids that are at the very top. And those you keep doing until the next patch, right? Same as in every other MMORPG. But they always stay challenging because your gear in that patch is never gonna allow you to have a trivial experience in terms of raiding. Raiding in Lost Ark also has a ranked version, if you may call it like that, where there's a leaderboard for only some specific raid bosses, a leaderboard of people who have finished it the fastest, right? Groups that have managed to kill it the fastest, they are on a leaderboard the same way as in PvP, right? There's a leaderboard for that also for the ranked seasons, which is very interesting for an MMORPG to put so much focus into all of these little interesting details in terms of PvE content and PvP content at the same time. So a very good job, I've always said this, very good job to the devs of Lost Ark, to the people who imagined, envisioned, and created this game, because they actually thought about everything that players might wanna do and players might find attractive, even though it's only a niche of players who cares about leaderboards in PvE. It's there, and it's for raiding, and it's absolutely fucking awesome. Raiding in Lost Ark is also about knowing mechanics. As I was telling you before, every single boss has different mechanics, and it takes quite a lot of time to, let's say, start out the game and have 30 raid bosses to go through, and if you want to learn the mechanics for all of these 30, it takes quite a long time. Luckily, they don't come in such big batches. Hey, here's this patch, another 30 bosses, next patch another 60. They come, in normal batches. Like first there's 8, and then there's gonna be 16, and so on. Now, on top of that, you as a player need to adjust your gear according to the raid boss that you do, if it wasn't already nicely challenging enough. Don't get me wrong, it's not stupendously hard. Anyone can finish raiding. It's just that it takes a lot more determination and passion for a casual player to be able to come in the game and just zoom through content through raiding, right? So you need to put a lot of effort into it, depending on you as a player, of course. Some need to put very few effort because they're really good at games. Some need to put a lot, like myself. But leaving that aside, every boss is a different element, and that because of that you need to adjust your gear also with runes that you get in game. It's part of Lost Ark. The way it works is that you equip runes on your gear, and then if you have enough runes, they give you percentages of a resistance, of percentages of an immunity. Now, if you do a fire element boss that is also, let's say, he deals with fire, but he is a spirit, right? So he fears you. You need fear immunity and fire resistance, right? So these two things you need to combine on your gear in order for you to have the best experience as a group and as a player inside that raid boss. Sure, you can finish every raid boss, almost every raid boss, without the appropriate runes, right? If you have 3 others that really know the mechanics and they do well and they have runes, then you can be there, survive, not die, do nice damage, but it's gonna be much harder for you. So this is like raiding hard mode if you go there without runes. So this is kind of the whole raiding system in a nutshell, guys. For those of you who are playing Lost Ark right now in Russia, fantastic choice, by the way, a very nice way to spend your free time. Do raiding, go inside raiding with classes and test them in there. For those of you who are not playing Lost Ark in Russia right now, huge mistake. I have a guide in the description below, 6-minute guide, teaches you everything you need to know on how to try and play not to try and play, how to play Lost Ark in Russia. Jump in the game with us before it comes out in the West. Fantastic idea to do so. You can find your class, you can get accustomed with the game, and when it releases you can have a straight line filled with fun towards endgame instead of a complicated let's try today a Warlord an hour, tomorrow Soulmaster, and then an Arcana and the Hawkeye. So a great idea to try it now. Follow my link. It's a very simple process to get Lost Ark. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much guys for watching. As always, I'm gonna see you really soon. Stay safe, lots of love.